Brooklyn Nets surprised everyone last year being a better team than we expected. And now that they're going to have both of their star players, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, back, what is this team going to do? Especially with Mike D'Antoni as the assistant coach and Steve Nash being the head coach, Mari Stoudemire, and I'm not going to say his first name because I suck at it, but Udoka from the Spurs staff coming over as the coaching staff is going to make this team very interesting. So let's talk about what to expect from the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets did get Reggie Perry through a trade, which was a second-round pick. He's a 6'9", 250 big man coming out of Mississippi State. Fan of his, but I don't think he's going to really play his rookie year. He's going to spend a lot of time in the G League, so just worth mentioning that he's probably going to be more of a future player, more of a backup big man for Jared Allen. The main guy I do want to talk about is my boy Landry Shamet. We're going to talk about each player in each trade, but Landry Shamet's probably one of their best acquisitions they got. He averaged 9.3 points, 1.9 rebounds, 1.9 assists, and his PER was 8.5 last year, which I feel like it should be higher. I feel like he shot 37.5% from three during the regular season and 35% during the postseason. You know, Landry Shamet's going to be a guy who's going to space the floor. He's going to be a really good shooter for y'all. And I really think that Landry Shamet could develop. He's not going to be an insane defender, but I think he can become a guy who is reasonable on defense. Like during the postseason, he was getting half a steal a game. If he can get that up to one steal a game, if he puts his mind to it, I think he can really be an adequate defender. A guy who could give you 12 points all through 3 points, shoot 4 to 6 threes a game and get you a steal or two. And he's just a really good guy to have off the bench. You remember how the Warriors used to have a bunch of shooters off the bench like Ian Clark, and I could list a bunch of people, but it's not worth it. But you know what I mean? That's what the Nets are doing. They want to get a bunch of shooters around their star players. So another guard they got was Bruce Brown. If you guys didn't know, the Nets sent out the 19th pick along with Dezanin Musa as part of the three-way trade with the Clippers and Pistons that brought guards Landry Shamet, Bruce Brown to Brooklyn. And the Nets also acquired Reggie Perry, which I said earlier, but they sent Jay Scrubb, who they selected with the 55th pick, to the Clippers. Either way, Bruce Brown is a guy who averaged about, I'm looking at it, 8.9 points. He was shooting at 35%, but he's a better on-ball defender than Landry Shamet is. So Landry Shamet's a better shooter, while Bruce Brown is the better defender. Bruce Brown has averaged about 1.1 steals per game. He's going to be a guy who he's a little bit bigger. He's 6'4", 202. Landry Shamet's is 6'4", I think like 193, a little bit lankier and skinnier. Bruce Brown's a little bit of a bigger boy, and he's going to be a guy who could seamlessly fit next to Kyrie and Kevin Durant at the 2 position, or Kevin Durant could be playing the 4 position. So, right there, he could fit perfectly. Or if Karis LeVert's going to take the 3 spot, you can put this guy at the 2 spot next to Kyrie Irving, have a guy who can defend and a guy who can offer some offensive potential. He had 9 points a game, 4.7 rebounds, 4 assists a game, and 11.9 PER. So, he's actually a really credible basketball player. So I think he'd actually be worth giving a shot. Next to there, him and Landry Shamet are definitely going to be splitting time. Jeff Green's irrelevant, but they added Jeff Green. He's just going to be a role player bench guy, just a mentor, a veteran that's on this team who can direct the young guys. That's going to be his role. So the roster is going to be looking like Jared Allen, Nicholas Claxton, Spencer Dinwiddie, Kevin Durant, Joe Harris, Kyrie Irving, DeAndre Jordan, Rodions Crooks. I probably butchered that name, so tell me down below how to pronounce that. Karis LeVert, Taurean Prince, Timothy Luwawu Cabarro, and Jeremiah Martin. Justin Anderson, Michael Beasley, Wilson Chandler, Jamal Crawford, Dante Hall, Musa, Garrett Temple, and Lance Thomas being all the guys who left the team this year free agency. But really, I think the starting lineup is going to be at point guard, obviously, Kyrie Irving, shooting guard. Obviously, I don't think they're going to run a 2 point guard set. I think it's going to be either Bruce Brown or Landry Shamet splitting time right there. So Bruce Brown and Landry Shamet at the 2 guard position, with the 3 guard being Karis LeVert and Taurean Prince splitting that. Obviously Taurean Prince is going to be the starter right there. Hopefully you guys didn't hear my dog. But I think the power forward position should be Kevin Durant. He's just at this point, he's just so good right there. And then Jared Allen and DeAndre Jordan splitting the 5 position, because that just makes the most sense. And then also, You got like they're getting a lot of depth. I really like the idea of Spencer Dinwiddie. And, I forgot about Joe Harris. Joe Harris could be running the 2 or 3 guard position for them. So, with that being said, Jared Allen will be the starter, in my opinion, next to Kevin Durant, with either, Karis LeVert or Joe Harris at the 3 guard, or Joe Harris at the 2 guard with Bruce Brown and Landry Shamet, depending on what they want to do. Point guard, obviously Kyrie Irving with Spencer Dinwiddie backing him up. I see this team being at least a 5th seed. The highest I see him as being the 3rd seed. I don't see him being better than Boston, Toronto, or Milwaukee. I see them being right below that tier. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they have potential to make a deep run into the playoffs, at least at Eastern Conference semifinals. I don't see them doing anything less unless they get major injuries, unless Steve Nash is a flop as a coach, which I doubt. I highly doubt that. I actually think he's a great signing, he's a great hiring, somebody that they really needed, and somebody that's going to really help the team. So, like, right now, I want to hear your opinions down below. What do you think of this team? Who is their best player who's going to help this team, get to the promised land? Is Kevin Durant going to still be able to be the same player? Will Kyrie and Steve Nash be able to mesh together? I really think they're good with their stars and their coach. It's going to be a lot of shooting with Mike D'Antoni being there as the assistant coach and Steve Nash being played in the 7-seconds offense back in Phoenix. Though, with that being said, I really do think that there is going to be some interest in the fact that I think Karis LeVert is going to come out and break out. I think Karis LeVert is really going to become that 3rd star. I haven't mentioned anything about this all video, but okay. Tyler Johnson just got re-signed as a backup plan if they don't actually trade for James Harden. But let's talk about the James Harden trade. I waited to the end of the video for this to happen because as more days pass, the more I read that this trade isn't going to happen. They might not want to do it. The Rockets, obviously, the Nets will do it in a heartbeat. Yeah, the Nets will have to give up a lot, but the Nets. This isn't the same Nets team as the past, but if James Harden's available on the table, look, James Harden might only cost you. Well, it's going to cost you a lot of your depth, which is Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, Taurean Prince, Jared Allen, DeAndre Jordan, a bunch of first rounds. Pretty much everything you have for depth is going to be gone. Your depth is going to be made up of minimum veteran players, minimum cheap guys who aren't going to be there. Yet Tyler Johnson, they did just bring back, who averaged 12 points and I think 3 rebounds and 3 assists per game. Back in the bubble, and obviously he's not going to be a world of difference if they don't get Harden. But is he going to be somebody included if the Harden trade does happen? You could see that. But I really think it's interesting because James Harden wants to go there. People are reporting that him and Kyrie won't work. Him next to Durant again won't work, or that this team isn't going to happen. The trade isn't going to happen. The more you hear that, I think it's is going to happen, but maybe not during this time, maybe halfway through the season, maybe at the end of the season. Definitely James Harden is doing an AD type situation, forcing his way out. So with that being said, I'm a big proponent is if somebody wants to get out, somebody wants to leave, trade them as early as you can to get the most value for them so you don't get stuck having them. So let me know down below what you think. Is the trade going to happen? Is the trade not going to happen? I'm very interested in find out what your opinion is. While you're down there, hit the like button and subscribe. As always, guys, I hope you guys have a great day because I know I will. Till next, guys, but peace out.